Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mighty Morning Meetup Live with Dr. Kiltz, who's going to be in momentarily, and Dr. Nelson here. Uh, please let us know where you're watching from. I see already some names there. And if you have any questions, we're going to be talking to Cam in a second. And as always, put them in the chat. Good morning, Cam.
Good morning, Dr.
Uh, I was reading some of the notes, and this man has a very interesting and funny story, I think. Today, we're joined by Cam Cordin, a man who literally ate his way to an emotional breakthrough on a bathroom floor via a raw adrenal gland. You'll understand once he tells the story. He's the founder of Savage Chill Style, a master of the brain body connection, and a firm believer that systems beat feelings. Cam, welcome to the morning live.
Glad to be here. Good morning.
And let's go ahead and start with having you introduce yourself and telling us your carnivore story and everything that happened to you. Before you do that, please hashtag KMT for a KMT hat. Okay.
I'm sorry, a hack?
Yeah, I'm telling the audience we're giving away a KMT hat.
Okay.
And so hashtag KMT for a chance to win that. And Cam, go ahead and start.
Okay. So, my carnivore journey, it pretty much historically always was a meat-based diet since childhood. But I would add the typical fruits and vegetables. And, when I was a kid, obviously processed foods. And as I got older, I switched 17 years just eating one meal a day. And I really pushed my body in like what I said to you. I finally, ironically, it was on my third divorce. And I can give you a backstory to that is I was basically, my body was falling apart. I destroyed it over years of constant training since childhood and like pushing it to the edge because I think there's a healthy amount of workout. But when you're in athletics, you really push your body. And by the time I was 37, it was something really wrong, really inflamed. And by 42, I felt like I was 70. And 44, it was on the night I was going through my third divorce and just agreed on it. I walked outside and I had a son from a previous marriage living with me. And then he was a sophomore, and I did the math in my head, and it was like 2.5 years till he graduated high school. And my identity has always been physical activity, and I destroyed the body like you can't believe. Surgeries, nerve damage, and I was out on the pool deck. I saw a kettlebell and did the math. It was 911 days, and I just said to myself, and I saw it shining on from the moonlight. I said, I'm going to grab that thing if I cannot fix my body in 911 days and just walk into the pool because I have nothing left to fight for. And it was a dark moment, but at the same time, it was a relief because there was something there. And I had a mission. I had a purpose again to fix this. And I just started at the basics, and it was simplifying everything and eventually, the divorce happened. And along the way, I started doing cold exposure extremely, like a somewhat carnivore. I wouldn't say it was like full carnivore because I would have like a cup of fruit at first. And over time, it was healing faster and faster. And a lot of the carnivore happened coincidentally because it was always a meat-based diet, but I had to cook for myself for the first time in my life. So I said, you know what? I know how to cook burgers. I'm eating burgers every night. And I have a background in systems. So it was, for me, I was prepping everything, just burgers. And once a day I'd, have a pound, maybe a pound and a half. And just, that's all I do. And through time, my body was healing. And eventually I met my fourth and final wife. And she, on the first date, said, I just eat meat. And I was just like, really? And it caught my eye because, one, I just naturally love meat. For me, it's easy. If you prepare vegetables, it's like, it's a pain. You have to cook them or sometimes chop them up. It leaves a huge mess. And I'm all about efficiency. So my first question was, well, how does it affect the digestion? You need the fiber, because that was like the big belief in my mind. He said, oh no, you don't need it. And I said, tell me more. He really was already several years in carnivore. She says, no, you just have to eat some butter. You have to make sure to get enough fat. So it blew my mind. And right away, I switched to 100% carnivore. That was like no big deal to me. It was like actually a relief because it made life easier. And along the way, we'll go to the story. We started dating more and more. And I started really exploring like organs, because I've naturally always loved organs. And I started getting really creative with it. And I saw these adrenal glands. And I said, oh, this is great. And on the package, there was a warning. Take it in small amounts. I was like, okay. And I took it with her. And right away, I started sweating. Like it was a strange feeling. Like I just started like sweating. My heart rate went up. Everything was like pulsating. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Like it was such a rush. I'm in the bathroom. I'm throwing up. I'm on the bathroom floor. And, she's very concerned. Yeah, I feel like I'm dying. And it was like the first time in my life that I was had like a true like emotion, like I could express my feelings to a woman. And I told her I loved her, and she was right there. So carnivore, in a sense, created a emotional connection that I've never experienced in my life.
We learn through pain and suffering.
Yes, that is true.
It's the nature of the evolution of all materials. And we must suffer to understand. And it's like, why couldn't he have told us this the day we're born?
Yeah. Yeah, and you learn a lot through it. And I think in today's world and everything about that in my book is about controlled discomfort. And through it, you heal. And a lot of people, especially in today's age, we have more comfort than we've ever had in the history of the world. And what was comfortable 50 years ago or 30 years ago is now discomfort for everyone. And we have all sorts of problems from it.
And I imagine 50, 100,000 years ago, we had problems too.
Oh yeah, always problems. Always. But that's the nature of life.
It is the nature of life. And so what is your main focus on how to quickly, resiliently see the beauty in whatever is going on in your life?
Well, I think chaos is, is a sign to learn, you know? And I think that most people look at it as like a victim, especially in today's world, is they gravitate towards it and they never grow from it. And I have the two rules in the Savage Chill is no panicking and no whining. And as soon as you start panicking, your life never improves. And the whining is just surrender. You never ever actually will ever get past that learning lesson that God is giving you.
So what are some of the tools that you use to go from the panic to purpose driven?
Well, I think like panicking, it's one of those things like no panicking, no whining. It sounds easy, but it's really not. And one of the tools I use is the cold exposure, because you really cannot panic if you're in the cold. It's a controlled discomfort, but it's cold. And the colder it is, the better. So when you go into it, it forces you to accept the actual condition. It's cold, you have to accept it. And the longer you stay in, the stronger your mind becomes for it. And you can handle it in everyday life when life eventually comes and punches you, because it will. It's just a matter of time, and it'll do it again, and then it will do it again. But you have to have the tools of controlled discomfort to go along with it. And why I call it Savage Chill is savage is doing the discomfort on purpose and accepting the truths as they are. And if you have savage without chill, it's just rage. And then the chill without savage is laziness. And the chill part is the no panicking and no whining. So you basically don't take, you look at everything in a controlled way and you don't panic. You can't panic. I mean, everyone in life panics. They watch the news, they panic. And when you panic, for instance, I've like going back to carnivore on this, is I watch a lot of people with the carnivore is there's so much information on carnivore when it's really a simple system. People are saying, well, maybe we should add fruits, we should do this. And there's too much information going through. And that, when you have so much information going through, it makes you lose willpower because it's not really systematized. So if you have everything prepped for the day, you know what you're going to cook, and you don't pay attention, you eliminate distractions, subtraction, instead of keep adding stuff to your life, you'll follow it. But if you're sitting there glued to the TV, you're not prepping your food, you're eventually going to go back to your old operating system of eating garbage food, and then the vicious cycle continues.
So, how does carnivore help our panic and pain?
Well, that's a great question. One, it's a reduction in inflammation from the diet. Most people probably do not get enough protein typically. The insulin spikes, they go up. That causes panic when people eat sugar. I mean, sugar is probably the worst drug on earth. No one talks about. So those two things right there, I mean, it's pretty hard to have a candy bar. I mean, you just go crazy. You see kids all the time. They're super hyperactive after eating candy. And then panic sets in because it's the fuel you're feeding your body.
Do you eat enough protein, Dr. Kiltz?
No. Because protein is the new carbohydrate. It's actually fat, I think, is our problem. Because I see a lot of carnivores don't eat enough fat. Because here's the simplicity of the story. Do we get fat because it's pathologic or biologic and physiologic? So we've made fat to be the cause of disease. But it's actually your body wants fat, but you don't eat it. Most carnivores eat lean meat and then protein shakes. Is a protein shake a natural diet for any animal?
No. And they go back to the lean meats. They really don't taste good.
It's fat. Obesity, visceral fat causes no disease. Your body in an environment of a lot of plants and protein is get fat because something's about to happen. It might not be in your lifetime, but it is going to happen. And if you're not fat for the famine, you're food and fertilizer first. And ultimately, our science of protein. What happens to protein when you, again, if in fact you eat protein, what happens to protein when you eat it?
But it depends what your total activity is too.
Well, the digestive system works really amazing. It takes everything you eat and makes a slurry, right?
Yeah.
It mostly liquefies everything. And then it extracts the amino acids from proteins and the sugars from the glycans and sends them to the liver. And the liver accepts insulin from the pancreas and converts those two things to fat. Would you say that the human body is doing a really good job of making fat?
Oh, yeah.
Is that pathologic or physiologic?
It's by design.
It's by design. And if we don't get fat, that means you're anorexic, cachectic, sarcopenic, and you're going to die. And we have taught, maybe you could highlight this a little bit. Aren't we taught that being skinny is better than being fat and eating low-fat diet is our primary message? Why are we linking to high protein these days, do you think?
Well, that's interesting. And I think it all stems down to is the health, like the exercise routines around the world is heavily bodybuilder influenced that serves no purpose, especially, like it's even transferred into athletics and the whole methodology behind it. It's not functional strength. It's not healthy. And it's, bodybuilding has transferred in today's world to bodybuilders are the first look maxers. And that's another disturbing trend. It's coming out.
What's look maxers?
Kids that like men, young boys that are damaging their face to have cheekbones, taking certain drugs so they look good because they believe that if you have a certain profile, you will most likely succeed. And I think there's one that's like the main look maxer. He even tells people that small amounts of crystal meth are good for you.
Well, aren't they pushing nicotine today? I mean, certainly caffeine and even marijuana as or THC and psilocybin, ayahuasca, and other neurologic manipulators.
Yeah.
And do bodybuilders in general live the longest?
No, they're not healthy, and people have like I like to have this conversation because I have a background in jiu-jitsu, and my best friend, he's an ex-pro fighter. We laugh all the time about bodybuilders, and we always go through it is say if there was a fight between a professional bodybuilder and a tennis player, who wins? And if you ask people, they say, oh, the bodybuilder, they're so big and everything else. But if you look at the tennis player, they are a real athlete. They can move. They know how to generate torque. They have endurance. A bodybuilder, I've seen one walk upstairs, they're out of breath for 5 minutes. And it's really that culture of bodybuilding really has transferred over in everywhere you can think about it, from the supplements to the exercise routines and that provide nothing, and the drugs they promote.
What's your thoughts about meal frequency? And do you think we're telling people they have to fuel their metabolism? Does that make any sense?
No, I mean, I stopped. I just eat one meal a day. I've been doing that for 17 years, and it works for me. I just never really, like the 6 small meals a day, that's ridiculous. Then you spend all day literally prepping food, because I'm looking for efficiency as well.
Well, are you a different kind of body than everyone else?
Not really.
Are we different?
No, I just think that we're conditioned to believe like it was 3 meals, then it was, it's a conditioning program where it doesn't make sense.
Can you go days without food and be healthy?
I mean, I could, but I just.
You haven't chosen to. I'm just curious, meaning that where this is our problem, the modern system that is about profits over people.
Yes.
Tell us things that basically we sell stuff, and we're selling stuff that makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, you go to the grocery store, the supermarket, and let's see, you buy eggs, bacon, butter, cream, beef. How long does it take you to shop?
It takes me literally, I think, 10 minutes.
I sometimes do 20 minutes because I like to talk to people and tell stories of what we're here and what we're about and why we're here to help people. And this is the main story of the mission.
Yeah, but if you really look at it, because I've really explored this, the bodybuilding influence in the world of health, it's really disturbing. No one really talks about it.
I want to share something that not to take anything from what you have to share, but I'm coming out with this in hopefully a letter or video later today, that I've been served with a class action lawsuit, which will likely is a $2 billion lawsuit, and against CNY Fertility, for every time someone comes to our website, that link may be shared with Meta or Google. Are we sharing information with Meta or Google if people are on this?
Right now we are.
Okay, is that sharing people's personal information?
Not directly, no. Not intentionally.
It's illegal. And I'm being sued for it.
Wow.
And Here's interesting about these lawsuits, and it's a class action. You can look up class action lawsuit against CNY Fertility and Dr. Kiltz. Basically, it's $5,000 per incident, and it's potentially every single person that has come to my website in 4 years. There are 400,000 people that have touched my website in 4 years. I calculated that's $2 billion. And by the way, if I fight this and win, okay, if I fight this and win through a jury trial in upstate New York, and it costs me, what do you think it's going to cost me for that legal battle? Anyone have a guess?
I would say probably north of 50 million.
Who pays me that 50 million?
No one.
Nobody. And so this is our modern medical system and our system of control over the masses. And this is the message that use these devices, communicate, but now they're going after medical systems and care. Basically, it's a net of money making, and it's a $1 billion lawsuit that may shut me down. And I'm coming out with sharing this, not to fight it, but to just simply share the message that the message is not about helping people be healthy. And maybe that's the same, issues here we're we have young bodybuilders dying because the message is to do this, use high protein now and be skinny. But the message is killing our brothers and sisters. And my commitment is to not stop doing what I'm doing, even if I do it out of a van. I don't care.
That is something.
Well, it's all something, and you and all of us, everyone here is going through some problem, which ultimately there's a purpose to all of it, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure.
What was the inspiration to write your book, tell your story?
My wife, she heard the story. She heard, originally I had the book, and it was broken down and it was really dry. And she's like, you have to put your personal story in it with how you created the system. And then when I put and then when I told her, because I never told anyone what led to this journey I went on, which was the 911 days. And she encouraged me to push it out, and she went through the system as well. And it's amazing, results. And it really comes out to it's a system of simplicity. It doesn't sound, people seem like it's extreme, but it's really not. And a lot of the things, like the big thing I talk about, not so much in the book, but to people, and it's the truth, most people are dehydrated. And that's where one of the anxiety things come from, along with information flow, if you watch the news, but it starts with hydration. And one of the biggest things that prevent people from actually following the system is clutter, physical clutter. And then I talk about problem solving through subtraction. And that means getting rid of people that don't serve your mission. And people don't like to hear it, but it's the truth. If your environment is not optimal, you probably can't stick to the system. And the other really big part of any system is it has to be simple. The more variables you add to it, the most likely it will break, it will fail. So when you design the system in all parts of your life and you break it down, it has to be realistic, not what you can do on your best day, but like what you can do on your worst day. and take away the decision process, because we live in an information, we have so much information coming at us, is that information drains willpower. So you need a system to basically take away decisions for your day. And I think that will make you stay on anything. Like I know people struggle with being on the carnivore diet because there's people out there and they say, well, don't do this, you can add fruit. And it adds a lot of like information, which causes that willpower to drop and they unsure. With a system, you really have to just believe in the system and follow the system, have a daily plan. And people really don't, I mean, I would say people underestimate the importance of that.
If you have any questions for Cam, please put them in the chat. Q in front of it, please. So, family, friends, you've been eating this way for some time. What do they think?
You know, that's a great question. Is I don't care. I don't ask for their approval because I'm doing this for myself. And if people can't accept it, that's okay. That's where the subtraction comes in. They get cut. It doesn't matter. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And if they're not serving the purpose, or if they're trying to push their agenda, they're eliminated. It sounds cruel, but I don't want the drama in my life. And I think that when you start eating right, it's a natural inclination to just to follow that path.
Have your kids joined you in eating this way?
You know, my son's in college. I encourage the heavy meat, but you know, he's an adult now. He's 21.
Not yet.
Yeah, not technically not yet, but I encourage.
I'm not even an adult yet at 70.
But at that age, I think if you push too hard, they will rebel against it. So I encourage it. He's seen how I operate. So naturally they take it from you because it's just the way the world works is they take pieces of, they see what works from you and they start taking it. And through time, they eventually follow you.
Where's Alia?
Alia, it's on her honeymoon. She's on vacation.
Honeymoon? Well, it's like, she's been married how long?
9 years. So she is going a celebration of her 9-year wedding anniversary. She's not going to be here today or tomorrow.
Well, I guess it's just you and I.
Yes. And Cam.
And Cam.
So
Cam.
this is your website, correct?
Yep.
SavageChillStyle.com. And if you want to go visit the website, I'll put the link in the description. And what else can you tell us about the book, by the way?
Well, the book is basically about it's designed for men. Basically, it's because I think men today are extremely weak. It goes through my story, but it basically breaks down the whole system step by step, and it starts with clutter. Yeah, I mean I can't clutter, subtraction, and we can cover like in systems, cold exposure, the kettlebell. I believe in the kettlebell tremendously because you have to have functional strength, and basically designing a system based around you as well. And I think that is really the main thing, is having a framework where you can operate in peace and really fuel your body and mind. Because in today's world, there's too much going on, from information flow to actually, and this is a big one, I don't really talk about it in the book, but the chemicals that are everywhere from the clothes. If I mean, with the carnivore, I've noticed this, and my wife's really health conscious, is there's no scent. We don't use scented washing products, fabric softener, dishwasher detergent. And in today, like, your senses come back to life. I'm outside working out or sitting in the cold plunge. Someone walks by. I could smell their fabric softener for the first time in, decade. I have the sense of smell, and it's really kind of disturbing that other people can't smell it. You walk into department stores and you say, "Oh my God, the plugins, everything else. This is not good for your good for you. It's not good for your hormones." And this is probably why men are also weaker today, is because everything is scented. They wear colognes, they put terrible products on themselves, deodorant, and it's a real problem. I mean, like a major problem. I don't know if
many of these products are endocrine disruptors, and they affect both men and women in the hormonal system by mimicking hormones, disrupting their function. And you are absolutely correct. The name of the book is what?
Savage Chill, Die to Live. It's
Okay.
Everyone that reads it can't put it down. You'll read it in one sitting. And once you read it, it makes a lot of sense. There's uncomfortable truth. And you'll take something away from it. That is for sure. Because if you're struggling, and everyone goes through the struggling point, you will find something, how to solve where you are. You're not alone. And I think the no panicking, no whining, and how to deal with those things and recognize it, it'll change how you are, period. It's because if you let yourself in today's world watch the news, it's panic stricken, and that literally, they're doing it on purpose. And that's why if you watch the news, then they have those infomercials. They're selling garbage products. People buy it because it makes them feel good. So that, the consumerism cycle starts. And, cortisol spikes, you watch the news. And it's just like the world we live in today is we have billion-dollar companies that are really targeting you mentally. And they know exactly what they're doing to get you to buy, to make you unhealthy. Then you're buying, then you go to the doctor prescribes you drugs. And one of the things I talk about in the book that helped me with the nerve damage quite a bit was niacin. And if you talk to doctors, the Flushing one, they're against niacin. And I think it's a great product. I stand by that, and it helps people. But it's a controversial vitamin that they all say, like, stay away from it. Yet, the big pharmaceutical companies do prescribe niacin, but they have the time-release version that is very detrimental to your liver.
Terry P. asks, so is kettlebells your go-to for training?
Absolutely. And this book is all about efficiency and sticking to a system. So if you have a gym membership, you have to have motivation to actually get in the car, go 15 minutes, and then you have to wait for machines when you're at the gym. Most of the machines don't really serve a purpose. Now, with the Savage Chill system, it's literally, you get into the cold, the ice plunge, you come out, you're cold, your hormones are jacked, adrenaline, norepinephrine, it's through the roof. You grab the kettlebell. There's no decision process because you're cold, your hormones are up, and you're ready to go. Your primal instincts are there, and it's simple. It's small. It's functional. It's a great product. You buy it once. You can take it with you. It's the greatest piece of equipment that there is, just for that reason, because we don't need gym memberships. It's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of drama going there. And for me, it's my preferred choice.
Do you do any sauna?
I do. I like the sauna.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my sauna, for unknown reasons, the glass door on it, one day, the impact glass, it just exploded. So I have to get that repaired, but I do like sauna.
And when you use it, do you combine it with a cold plunge? I mean, any particular order, or you avoid doing one and the other together on the same day, or anything like that?
It really depends, because I'm a firm believer in against what everyone talks about online is, I think the cold exposure, like they'll tell you like, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 50 degree. I'm the exact opposite. I'm saying, make it as cold as you can. I even added Epsom salt, so it even went below freezing, and push yourself into it. And I found that the greatest effects were the longer you go. And so with that, it's cold. I go in for long durations, and it takes a while for your body to warm up. But that's like, if it's cold outside in Florida, which it's very rare, maybe I'll do the sauna after the workout if I'm not already warmed up. But it's interesting about the cold exposure is that it actually puts you in a state of ketosis. There's a lot of work going on about that. So it really fits right with the carnivore diet, is because you are mimicking how we operated thousands of years ago in the cold. We didn't have down jackets. Obviously we had, they were using fur, but people were tougher. And this really does teach you a lot of mental toughness. I can give you, and I believe this is cold related, is I had my first, I had my nerve damage. I had the ulnar nerve replacement or movement in both arms. And after the surgery and the anesthesia, I felt terrible. I had to take the nausea medicine, the pain medicine. It was brutal. So fast forward, I'm doing the cold exposure, and I'm doing it religiously every day. I never miss it. I never miss a workout, never miss the cold exposure. And I have to get my elbow scoped. I had like the size of a grate floating around in my left elbow. And when I did the surgery after the anesthesia, I woke up fresh, no fogginess, nothing. And there was no need for me to take pain medication, because I don't know if it's the cold exposure or what it was, but I wasn't like just out toughing it. Is that my body was trained. The cold exposure trains your body. And if you combine it with the carnivore, and the whole system of cold exposure, kettlebell, carnivore, you're going to see a remarkable difference on your body and your mind. I really think cold exposure goes very well with carnivore.
I like the contrast: hot, cold, sauna, hot tub, cold plunge. I think that contrast feels invigorating.
do you go from hot to cold right away, or
You know
Dr.
what?
Kiltz?
Oh, I do. I
Okay.
do. And then I just again, it's more of a mindset feeling of the wide differences of those two feelings, really hot, really cold. And I think that sort of builds our resilience on both sides.
No, it does, and it flushes all the metabolic waste. That's a great.
I don't know. It feels good. I don't know what metabolic waste it gets out. I always wonder about that.
Yeah.
Which one?
I do a lot of. I did a lot of research back in the day because I was in athletics, and I would get. If you remember, in the late '80s, early '90s, I was getting the Soviet Sports Review translated to English and reading it, and they called that the Russian shower, and it increased the recovery rate dramatically. Hot, cold, alternating, and no, it definitely works.
Well, again, the mindset is the master set.
Yes.
Remember, I'm selling a sauna or a cold plunge. I'm going to write a lot of detailed science on that, which I call likely scientism. When it makes you feel good, it's likely dopamine.
Yeah.
This is dopamine.
But I would encourage you to try.
Do it.
Cold plunge followed by the workout, because it really, the beauty of it is, because I think I can speak for everyone. I don't like working out. It's always, it's a motivation thing. You have to be motivated to work out. But when you do the cold exposure first, there is no motivation, is because you're cold. You're saying, like, I'm going to grab that kettlebell. I have to go. And your adrenaline and norepinephrine is through the roof, and you're going to do it without motivation. And that's one of the big benefits I like about it, is like, there's no warm up needed.
I want to know how much workout Rick does.
I'm sorry?
He works out every day, but he just gets up and work.
Well, but that's maybe, what type of work do you do, by the way? What's your day job?
I do this, and I'm involved in software, and I have a background in system dynamics.
So what does your work do for you?
What does it do for me? Pays bills. This is my work. This is my true passion, is helping people.
Well, does your software help people?
My software? I mean,
your coding? I mean,
coding is a dying field, first of all.
Is it dead yet?
I wouldn't say yet.
So what if it's alive and well and growing, but now everyone has control of coding? But I want to get back to, no matter what you do in your work, it's powerful, because our mind is a worker. And I think you mentioned comfort crisis. I mean, ultimately, right? We don't hunt and gather. We search and and write code, right?
Yeah. I mean,
which is our work, which provides the fuel, which is now shells, trinkets, no gold nuggets, no digital currency, right?
Yeah.
Which makes our women happy, which makes us happy.
That is true. I mean, I enjoy the system aspect, because everything in life is a system, whether you want to believe it or not. And I think once you start systematizing and every part of your life, you actually have more freedom. And I'm a big believer in checklists. Like, if you go out of the house, everything you need, like, I never leave the house without, like, depending how long I'm going, how many bottles of water do I need? And for me, I feel I need a lot of water, especially considering I just eat once a day. If you eat 6 meals a day, you probably don't need a lot of water because you're eating all that fruit.
Yeah. Jennifer Edwards has a question. Do you have a certain cold plunge you recommend?
I actually built my cold plunge out of a deep freezer. And I think it's the most cost effective. And it's pretty simple setup. You just get JB water weld where all the seams are, seal it up. You can get an Amazon regulator where it turns the cold plunge on and off. It's like for a beer keg. And just get some water pumps. I actually have a link on my website. If you look at gear, it'll show everything you need from Amazon. And just put drill a little hole in the top with some PVC pipe and put an ozonator in. You can build it for $1,200 or less, brand new, and it can get colder than most of them. Most of them get anywhere from like 35 to 40 degrees. This one I've gotten below 0.
Meat Fullness asks, what are the long-term effects on your muscles if you're cooling them so traumatically?
Well, there's some studies saying it's not good to do cold plunge after exercising, but I don't pay attention to that because I do it before the exercise, which I think is the right order.
Life is kind of risky.
It is.
I do hormetic stress every day, Dr. Kiltz.
When I come home, I get yelled at.
Hashtag KMT for a chance to win a KMT hat. Okay.
I have one exercise I do every day, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.
Push-ups?
Well, I've already done that probably at 5 a.m., but I come to the community and hang out with my brothers here and Ali and all my brothers and sisters and everyone, because the community seems to be such a critical. It doesn't matter what you're going through in life. Go to church. This is our church. It's a religious, spiritual connection of humans to share ideas, whether we all agree on them or not, doesn't matter. But we're learning things, and like you've suffered, but you've put down your story, you're sharing it, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and I can't emphasize, if you get the book, systems will make your life better. They will give you more freedom. If you just wake up and you're right into chaos, you're most likely going to fail at everything you do slowly. And I think that is one of the big problems people have, is they wake up first thing in the morning, they don't drink water, and they're right on the coffee. They're throwing gasoline on a fire. You're already dehydrated. Water, and then the clutter, everything should be systematized. It sounds not very exciting, but if you actually break down your day with contingencies, I have contingencies since I usually don't wake up so early to at 6 a.m. ready to go. I had a contingency plan for my morning routine and exercise. I know what I had to do with the limited amount of time. There was no thought process, so I didn't have to sit there and say, "Oh, should I do this? Should I skip it?" Because everything there's a contingency on, and I think it helps.
Well, if pilots took off on a plane without going through a specific list of things, we would all be in trouble. Terry P asked, do you have workout videos?
I can, on the website, I actually give my workout out. You can fill it out. And I do have an online school that actually goes through the workout, and I show it, but It's great. It's simple, and I think that's the other thing. Back to the workouts, is it's way overcomplicated what people recommend. You don't need this fancy thing, and if you're going to a personal trainer, stop. Is like the cold exposure, it resets your nervous system. If you look at like real athletes, I refer a lot to the Soviets back in the day. They were way ahead of us in exercise science. They never missed reps when they were the weightlifters. Everything was pre-planned. You never trained to failure. You never miss a rep. If you're gonna do, if you can do 10 push-ups, don't push yourself to failure. One, it burns your central nervous system out. And that's what trainers do. And that's how people, they go to the trainer and they feel like, my trainer killed me today. I can barely walk. I can puke. You just fried your central nervous system. Good luck 2 weeks from now. You're going to kill your willpower. There should be no willpower. You shouldn't need motivation when you do stuff, because that's short-lived and your body can't handle it. It's all about controlling and resetting your central nervous system.
We have a good question here. Brian Arias, Cam, will your book help someone who has to exercise from a chair?
Yeah, I mean, the book is more than just exercise. And I really go over it in the book. I'll show you my workout, but you have to customize what your life is. And I think it's really important. The system has to be compatible with you. And we're always chasing someone else's system, buying someone else's program. That program was designed for them. And it's really important to do what you can, and where you can do it every day, even on your worst days. That's the right system. It works for you.
Was Jack LaLanne's dog Scout? Wasn't that? I mean, you're right. Jack LaLanne. I remember my mother doing Jack LaLanne exercise from a chair back in the 50s.
No, Jack LaLanne was great. They don't make them like him anymore.
Well, I think all of us are made like Jack. All of us. We just have to. It's like you're writing a book to teach us how to be like you, right? You're sharing ideas. For all of us to be better, right?
Yeah.
And because ultimately we're not different. We're the same. We're just for teachers or trainers or methods, and through your experience and your book and your stuff that you're helping us. I love it.
Yeah, but like the system compatibility is the real thing. Like, for instance, I like to use this example. If someone told me if I ran 10 minutes a day, it would do X for me, I'd probably look, after 2 weeks, I would stop, because I have to be honest. I hate running. I'm not going to do it. You have to really choose, everyone has to choose what they like, for it to be compatible.
I just want to smoke a cigar with Mitch. All right. Who's the winner, Doctor?
Lines. Oh, do you exercise the same body part twice? And let me do this, because we're about to.
That's a great question.
We're going to sign off here before the hour, because this way that everyone gets it translated into multiple languages and gets to share our savage chill brother, Cam.
All right.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. We're grateful to you. We're all getting the book. And will we see people later today, Dr. Nelson?
Yes. Have a live stream at 3 and Zoom call at 5:30. Lizzie World, email Alia. Have a great day. Alia at Dr. Kiltz.